Hey listeners and community, welcome to the Afternoon Fog podcast, a community-based podcast consisting of students and youth workers, covering important stories in South San Francisco and the larger Bay Area. I'm your host, Sadie. Today is November 19th, 2025, and we're recording at South San Francisco High School during the lunch hour. Today our guest, a South City High student, Nohemi, is generously agreed to join us as a student of the Ballet Folklorico program at South San Francisco High School. We'll ask her about her experience in a dance program that is rarely offered many schools in the nations, but has been considered a gem at this school. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Of course. Can you tell us about your origins and when you first were exposed to Folklorico? What initially made you attracted to folkloric, and what has kept you dancing to this day?
Sure thing. So I was actually exposed to Folklorico around the age of 5 when my mom signed me up for the South City Parks and Rec Folklorico kids dance classes that they offer. Many modern parents, if they're able to, they're going to want to get their parents involved in extracurriculars. So that was my mom's idea of just having me try out different things. And we're really grateful that our city's Parks and Recreation Department offers those kinds of activities and opportunities at an affordable price, because private leagues and companies, it's harder for your kids to try out new things. So for me, folkloric was one of the only activities I tried as a kid that I actually stuck with. But of course, I wasn't diehard passionate about it since day one. It was just a thing I did because I was signed up for it. What really has kept me dancing to this day and has kept me going through it was actually watching the older kids perform in the our annual South City High winter and spring Folklorico concerts. So in those concerts, you have a mix of kids and preteens from the Parks and Recreation classes. You have high school kids from who take folkloric as an elective, and then you also have the adults who take it as through Parks and Rec, but as an advanced evening class. So watching the older people perform gave me something to aspire to, because I don't know, I just thought they were cool. They were synchronized, they were beautiful, they were skillful. It was just their performances are so audibly and visually pleasing that I knew that I wanted to be like that. So yeah, that's what's kept me going, to learn new dances and improve on my skills as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very, very cool. In what ways do you feel you've benefited from dancing Folklorico? What experiences have you gained from participating in folkloric, and what are ways that you've grown as a person?
So there are quite a few different ways I could answer this question. First of all, there's definitely physical benefits to it. I feel like dancing folkloric has made me a more athletic and coordinated person, because if you're actually trying during the class, then it's a lot more cardio than people realize. I think it also improves arms and leg muscles through the skirt work and footwork we have to do. Another common answer that people give to this question that I agree with is that it gives you a better, a more developed love and understanding of Latin American culture, even more so if you are of that culture. We do have some people in Folklorico who are not you don't have to be Mexican or Latino to join at all, but it does really give you a greater understanding of that culture. It also mentally benefits you in many ways, because not only are you moving, but it's important to have something in your day that you look forward to. So there's plenty of students here at South City High who may not feel engaged with their classes. So having something to look forward to in the day gives them a better reason to come to school and try.
And despite California having a large Latino population, a ballet folkloric program and class that is rarely offered in schools, how important is it for schools to have programs like these, considering we are living in a time where diversity or expression of ethnicity identity is under attack?
It is for schools to engage in programs like these. I think I wouldn't say it's the most important thing in the world, but it's definitely a key, a good aspect for your school to have, because celebrations of ethnic identity can they just enhance the overall richness of the community, and it has benefits for students as well as the overall community. Not every school is going to have the resources or interest to establish a Ballet Folklorico program, but if there is the chance, then it should definitely be done. I think it's really makes the school stand out, and especially right now with all the rhetoric surrounding like immigrants and stuff. I think now more than ever, it's important that we celebrate ethnic identity, because the United States we are a mixing pot country where we're like shaped by so many different cultures. So these celebrations really make like everything better.
As an experienced performer, how do you deal with nerves or worries? What are different things you've seen fellow dancers do right before a performance?
Well, me personally, before I even step foot backstage, one of the most important things I do is make sure that I feel confident in what I'm dancing. Like, if you're performing it, the assumption is that you know it well enough and have practiced it enough that you can do it with no mistakes. Ideally, the steps themselves should feel natural to the point you're only thinking about the choreography or just overall enhancing your stage presence. So to increase my actual confidence in the dance, depending on the circumstances, sometimes I would look at a recording of the dance from a previous performance, because Folkloric, we record all of our concert videos, so it definitely does give us an advantage that we're allowed to like look back at previous versions or to really like watch how it goes. Sometimes I might even practice by myself, or like I was talking about earlier, I would double check with a fellow performer. So knowing what you're doing and confidence is supposed to prevent nerves in the first place. But sometimes, no matter how much you prepare, you can't help but feel at least a bit nervous when you actually go backstage and line up with your fellow dancers. So at that point, often we'll talk to each other, we'll whisper to each other. Like, if you tell your fellow dancers you're nervous, most of the time they'll respond by saying they're nervous too. And strangely, that makes you both feel better. Maybe someone will make a joke or someone will complain about something. But the point is that backstage chatter and that like kind of banter with your fellow performers does a lot more than people realize. It makes you feel a lot less awkward before you go on. So that kind of feeds into the camaraderie thing I was talking about earlier. Yelling too, that also helps with nerves. Not like screaming yelling, but like the gritos and types of yell you'll hear in a lot of Mexican music. Like sometimes we'll yell right before we go on, or to hype ourselves up, or yell from off stage to hype up the current performers. For example, last year when we went to Disneyland for a performance, I was a bit nervous backstage with the heat and performing for a new audience that was maybe being introduced to Folklorico for the first time. So while some dancers were out there dancing the first number, a bunch of us backstage just started like yelling. Like doing gritos and basically hyping up the people on stage as if to say like, hey, we're proud, we're here, let's show Anaheim what we have. So I love like this display of support for your fellow performers, that it makes you, it like enhances your mood immediately right before you go on stage.
In the age of TikTok dances and modern music, do you feel like the younger generations are less or losing interest in traditional dances like Ballet Folklorico? Why do you think this is the case?
So I actually think the contrary, if anything. I feel like social media platforms give Ballet Folklorico more interest. I mean, the concept of TikTok dances and the dances that go along with modern music, I feel like it's such a completely separate category that it barely even affects it. TikTok dances are what in the dance community are called social dances, and they derive more from hip-hop while taking inspiration from a bunch of other dance categories. So though, yes, TikTok dances and modern music are very popular, I feel like Folklorico and really all cultural and traditional dances can coexist without one necessarily affecting the popularity of the other, because people tend to recognize how distinct they are. Like, you can hold on to the past while moving on towards the future at the same time. Like, when I was younger, yes, I liked pop music, and yes, I liked watching people do whatever, the renegade and say so. But I also had an equal space, if not a bigger space in my heart for Folklorico. People can appreciate different genres of music.
Among the many performances that Ballet Folklorico program holds a year, we recently saw them not only perform but provide a space to celebrate for Dia de los Muertos. Can you describe how that went this year along with the ofrenda that was on display? Can you speak on the importance of exposing greater SSFH community to not just the moments of dance, but also inviting them to listen to the students talk about the symbolism and meanings behind the dances and the various objects at the altar?
So I think our Dia de los Muertos performance went great this year. Our altar setup was much like previous years, with the lights blacked out and the whole cafeteria decked out in butterflies and skeletons that the students colored themselves. Performance-wise, all of our classes got to perform, and we even implemented a new element where we have one student dress up and represent La Catrina, who's a figure that a very crucial figure to Dia de los Muertos. So I'm really glad we were able to implement that this year. Exposing the greater South City community to not just the performance, but because prior to the performance, we also have the students talk about the symbolism behind the various objects on the altar. That's done by our club leaders, our Folkloric club leaders, and then some of the students just like hold the object up while the presenter is talking about the significance behind it. So this is important because I don't know, because when it comes to Dia de los Muertos, a lot of people just think cocoa or like skeletons and Party City decorations, but like it kind of goes against like the whitewashing or commercialization of it by actually explaining the significance behind many of the elements. So they talk about the significance of having salt on the altar, the significance of the flowers, or like the personal items that belong to the deceased. So like it overall, like I want to say, enriches the community in a way. Like even if you aren't Latino and you're just like witnessing it, I think it's really important to kind of gain that cultural awareness, especially in this South City area.
You can close this out.
Yeah. Before we close, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yes, I would like to talk a little bit more about our program leaders. Our co-founder of Ballet Folklorico Alma de Mexico is Martin Cruz, and we also have our assistant director Juan Fuentes. They work really hard to keep this program going and funding it and always improving on performances and really just like expanding Alma de Mexico in like both reach and quality. So participating in Folklorico also not only gives you actual performance experience, but also experiences with teamwork. You're never performing alone, so often you coordinate with your fellow performers. You know, you help each other out with your costume if anybody needs help or putting something on or is missing something. Like, or you just check in with each other about like choreography you want to clarify. There is a collaborative aspect to it, and that's not even talking about the more literal teamwork and research we have to do in the spring when Folklorico students have our group projects, which I will touch on a bit later. Of course, you also get to make good friends and acquaintances. Like some of my friends are people who I never would have met or interacted with if it weren't for Folklorico. It does build a sense of community because you have fun. You get to have fun with your peers, goofing off or making memories backstage, on stage, or around the Bay Area if you choose to participate in our various out-of-school events. There's also like the sense of camaraderie too. Like you may not be besties with everyone there, but the class and program still feel like a community.
I want to thank you, Nohemi, for sharing your energy and time with us today. And thank you all to the listeners. Please share this episode with friends and within your network as we continue to grow.